fix this old camera where we can see. All right off the bat, I want to go over something right quick so that there's no confusion. You know, I'm not a person of confusion. I can't stand it. So question number one, am I throwing turf wear under the bus? Absolutely not is the answer. Question number two, am I selling all our turf wear machines and switching over to the gateway applicator? Answer is absolutely not. That is because I do not have any experience on this thing. I don't know that much about it other than what I was trained on yesterday by David. Question number three, is this a better machine than the turf wear? I have no idea. I mean, I just don't know because I've literally got the thing yesterday. Literally got it yesterday. So I know the comment section can get a little crazy at times with some of these oddball questions that tend to rub me the wrong way. Don't ask any of those questions because I don't know the answers to any of them. If it concerns turf wear versus stinger and what I'm going to do in my business and what I am going to promote and what, you know, I stand behind, or any of those questions, just don't ask them. Let me do my thing. Let me learn the machine. Let me use it for a while here in the yard. And then we'll circle back in a couple of months or so, and then I'll give you some opinions on it. Let's just do the big overview of the machine based on what I know from having it in my possession for a little over 24 hours. So this is the Stinger gateway applicator. And if you're not familiar with Stinger equipment, they make the GT30 and then the 36-inch stand-on plugger, ride-on aerator, and of course we've got a shop full of those things. I will be doing a video on those here pretty soon because I do have some things I want to tell you about that. But right now, let's go over this machine. I want to give you just a bare bones general overview of it. One, the calibration is done with a pad, a tablet. This is a Windows something. I'm struggling to turn it on. I'm an iPad guy, iPhone guy, Apple guy. I do know that the software that's used to set everything up will be available for the Apple in the near future. It's coming, it's in the works, but for right now it's just Windows only. So David let me borrow his pad here so that I can, you know, tinker around with it, play around with it. So to start, let's give you some basic measurements. The back end is just a smidgen wider than the front end, and from the outside of the tire to the outside of the tire is roughly, no, let's don't roughly it, let's get it exact. It is exactly 35 and maybe one small dot, which I've learned how to read a ruler. For those of you that know what I'm talking about, that's a 1/16 of an inch. So 35 and a 1/16 wide, which is pretty compact. The height to the top of the tank is about 27 3/4. The tallest point on the machine is right here where the controls are, and that's 44.5 inches tall. The height of the hopper is, let's get it right here, is about 34.5 inches. This is I can't remember what he said, I think a 22 gallon. It goes up to, the markers go up to 18. It skips one and there's another marker, so I'm assuming that's 20. So roughly a 20 gallon tank. Like I said, the last indicator is 18. And then you do have a little bit of space there. Actually, no, that's about the same distance. Let me see here. Oh, they're 2 gallon increments. So yeah, 16, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, 18, 20. 20 gallon tank. Does have a spot spray wand. that is connected to the main tank. And he showed me this yesterday. Here's the bolt hole patterns already laid out for a auxiliary spot spray tank for the future. I don't know if that's available yet, but it is coming. The hopper from front to back is 2 foot. Hopper from side to side is 27 inches. And let's see how deep the hopper is. Where's my tab at? Here's your tray right here. Got Stinger right there, and got some pretty cool little honeycomb pattern in there to go along with the B, which is pretty neat. From the very bottom, this thing looks to be about 13.5 inches deep. So there's some basic measurements. Kohler Command Pro, 7 horsepower, 208 cc motor. It is a carbureted motor. It's got a choke on it. The key is over here on the side, right there. The battery is over here on the side, and it's a little teeny tiny battery. It doesn't take up a lot of space. Right here on the tank, you have a spray wand on and a spray wand off. That way you can turn the spray wand on or off if you need to. So let's look at some of the unique features on this. I just washed it, so it's got a little water on it. Look at this shield here, okay? Why is this important? Well, it's important because the overwhelming majority of ride-on spreader sprayers all have a flaw in common. When you are spreading a dry granular product, the product tends to build up in places on the machine, meaning it gets down in little cracks and crevices and hangs around on flat areas and things like that. Well, if you notice the shape of this right here, how it is all tapered down and then it has sharp ends on it, that way as the machine's going, if fertilizer gets on this, it easily sheds off, and it can't get up under here to all, some of your important parts, like the steering system and grease fittings and things like that. You don't want fertilizer sitting on that stuff. So that's a really, really cool feature. It also has a same type of material back here, that in the back, right behind the impeller, that's kind of molded and shaped all around through here, that does the same thing to keep material from going back that way. Another incredibly unique feature of this is the frame is made of round tubing. Well, I'm not an engineer or anything like that. I personally was going to think round tubing is structurally stronger than a square tubing. I may be wrong. I totally and completely might be wrong, but in my mind, I just feel that it's stronger than square tubing or flat metal. If I'm wrong about that, by all means, comment below and tell me. An added benefit to the round tubing frame is no fertilizer can sit on it. It's round, it's a circle. So when the fertilizer hits it, it sheds off both sides. It's not a flat area for the fertilizer to rest on. So looking at this, and after owning 5 turf wares that we currently have and run, I've had 2 Ground Logic, I've had 2 Lesco motorized spreaders, I've had 4 Z-Spray. Let me back up. I've had 2 Z-Spray, like the intermediate, and then I've had 4 Z-Spray Max at one time. What was the other brand I had? I had one other brand. I can't recall what the name of that brand was. It wasn't a Turfco. It wasn't a Steel Green. I did get a Steel Green for a moment in time that I tried out. And the one thing that stuck out to me, or the one thing I remember about every single one of those machines. I'm not discluding, is that a word? Discluding? Including, discluding? I don't know. I'm not discluding any of those other brands from this because they all fall into this category. Is every single one of them had pockets somewhere on the machine to where fertilizer built up. Now, I haven't used this one enough to say there's no pockets where fertilizer will build up. I can simply look at the design of it and tell that it's going to be really difficult for fertilizer to build up anywhere on this machine. Again, not saying it ain't possible. I'm just saying by looking at it, it's going to be difficult for that to happen. So a really small footprint is pretty cool. I will say this. This is a little bit unique by way of, you know, for how long have I been on YouTube? 6, 7 years now. And I have hammered you with sprayer calibration. Sprayer calibration is telling your equipment, your spray equipment, how much finished solution. A finished solution is your products, which could be anything from fertilizer, weed control, pre-emergent, post-emergent, insecticide, biostimulants, any liquid. We're going to group that as a product added with the water, which the water is the carrier, because you don't spray concentrated product on your turf. You add it to water, and the water carries that product to the yard, and that finished solution, that is the product combined with the water, the term for that used is a finished solution or finished mix or your mixture, whatever you want to call it. I don't care. I just want you to grasp the concept. I call it a finished solution. You take the finished solution and you apply that per 1,000 square foot in your yard. You do not calibrate gallon per minute. Gallon per minute basically tells you what a nozzle is capable of producing or what a pump is capable of producing. It does have something to do with calibrating per 1,000 square feet because you want to maximize your speed, your efficiency, and all that. So you need a pump and nozzle to be able to keep up with the output you want to produce in the yard as far as your gallon per 1,000 goes. But calibration in a nutshell is telling your piece of equipment how much finished solution to put over a 1,000 square foot area. In the ride-on spreader sprayer market, to my knowledge, I know Z-Spray and Steel Green, and I've never been on a Turf Go, so I don't even know about those guys. You know, they've done some pretty amazing updates to my knowledge, and I don't know all those amazing updates, so I can't tell you for sure if they fit into this category with what we're getting ready to talk about. But with my experience, based on what I've owned, this thing stands out. It's totally and completely fresh and new in its category, ride-on spreader sprayer. You know, we're gonna keep it inside that category. I'm not talking about Toro Multi-Pros and stuff like that. I've got a Toro Multi-Pro. I understand the GPS calibrations where the nozzles can cut on and off individually and all that stuff. This doesn't fit into that category. This is for lawn care applicators, not golf. Well, I guess you could use it on a golf course, on golf greens, because it's considerably lighter than a Toro Multi-Pro. But back to calibration. I don't think any other machine on the market has the technology this thing has. I spent about 2 hours or so with David. David's the owner of Stinger. Spent that with him at my shop yesterday. We went over the machine in detail, how to calibrate it, the hopper, for the granular, how to calibrate the spray system, the liquid, and you do it here with this thing. I know it's getting a little dark, but that's how you do it. The days of manually calibrating things are over as far as this machine is concerned. The technology built into this, I know it's a little tiny cute spreader sprayer. It doesn't look like much, but the technology built into this thing, when I went to bed last night, I was thinking about it. That's how much impact this thing had on me yesterday. It is absolutely incredible. And from a lawn care company owner, who is over the top anal about applying herbicides, fungicides, fertilizers accurately and correctly so that two things happen. One, we don't blow up a yard and don't destroy it from over application. And two, we get the good results that we're supposed to get from the products that we're using. But what I want to drive home here is calibration is super important. Whether you do it manually or whether you have some type of electronic technology device that does it for you. And in this case, all the manual stuff, you can kind of throw it out the door because it doesn't exist. There are some manual steps involved in it, but once you get the machine calibrated, everything is based on ground speed and your movement of the machine, and it adjusts on the fly. It adjusts everything by itself once you get the first part right. And again, that is with this, and we're not going to go through all that in this video. I'm going to show you that step by step in a video as we go throughout the year. You weigh out a fertilizer that you're going to use that is specific to each fertilizer. Let me turn the light on. So what I was saying was each granular, has maybe a slightly different prill size, a slightly different weight to it, that kind of thing. So anytime you switch from granular to granular to granular, different products, you do have to calibrate it. Well, the cool thing is it has presets built into the thing. That's so freaking cool. So I could have my protein 12024 and I could calibrate it, put that in here for preset number 1. I could have my protein 2005, granular weight, the granular size and the weight may be a touch different. So I can have preset number 2 for that. If I were spreading ammonium sulfate, granular ammonium sulfate, the weight and prill size is definitely going to be different for that than the protein. So I could set that in here, calibrate it, preset number 3. Once you get the legwork done in the beginning and get all the calibration plugged into the software and you upload it to the machine, then all it is you make your little notepad and keep it right here, or keep your notes in your phone or whatever with what product is attached to what preset. And then it's simple as hitting a couple of little buttons right here and going out and getting the work done. The spray system is basically the exact same way. You have different presets, whether you want to spray it a quart per thousand, a half gallon per thousand, a gallon per thousand. These are some prototype nozzles that he made specifically for me, and they're at 0.85 gallon per thousand. He is going to make me some 1 gallon per thousand nozzles, ship them to me, and I'll go back through the calibration process and all that and get that set up. So the machine will be spraying at 1 gallon per thousand. And again, you can have different mixtures in here to whether you are spraying, whatever you're spraying at different times of the year. Maybe you want preset number 1 and you're going down with pre-emergent and fertilizer and post-emergent. Maybe you want exceptional coverage and you want to go to 1 gallon per thousand. That could be your preset number 1. Preset number 2 could be a summertime application where you might want to get more square footage out of the 20 gallons or coverage, more, you want to do more yards or cover more area. So you would kick back to a half gallon per thousand, and you're running a slightly not as hot mixture as what you would be running in the spring. And so you don't want as much carrier. There's so many different scenarios I could put you in there, but the point is you have all those options because you have all those different presets in here, which is just crazy. That's crazy to me that this little machine has that kind of technology built into it. The agitation, that's always been a little bit of a bummer when it comes to ride-on spreader sprayers, because every single one that I've personally owned, including the ones I have now, the agitation is minimal, at best, minimal. This thing's got a pretty dang strong agitation system on it. That's 20 gallons and it rolls it pretty good. So, you know, if you're sitting here idle and you're putting your materials in there mixing, you just hit a button, individual button on its own, it starts agitating the material. The way the tank is made on the bottom, it's made in a, you know, like a half moon shape, like that, a rounded shape. So the agitation comes down, the venturi comes down and follows that contour of the tank and keeps it stirred like that, which is absolutely an ingenious idea. It's not a flat tank on the bottom, so you don't get stuff built up in the corners and crap like that anymore. It actually stirs and mixes it up. The controls are super easy. You have two fixed bars here, and then you have a handlebar in the back that just pushes forward to go forward, and you can kind of lock in your fingers right here on the front and kind of use the meat or the palm of your hand to push back, or you can hold on to this. The control pad right here is just really robust. You can hold on to that and pull backwards, and it steers. The front tires steer like that, just like a car, like a go-kart. If you could imagine a mini go-kart, you know, how the go-karts have super tight steering where you can really make tight turns, this thing does the same thing, which is pretty cool. Speedometer built in here, and of course, like I said, I'm gonna go over all this stuff in detail, maybe even go over each component of it in detail, but I just wanted to give you a good general overview of the thing, let you know that I've got one in my possession and that I'll be using it quite often here in the yard. You know, if I'm being completely 100% honest with you, you know, I'm the guy who's got, you know, I got the big mighty Ventrac, and I got the mighty ABI Force, and my big John Deere tractor, and I use the turf wares, which are the full size XL versions. If you've seen my truck, you know I like big stuff. And so this is a mental hurdle for me that I need to get over, that this smaller frame machine is as capable as the larger machine. So that's something I have to personally get over and kind of learn this machine and get used to it. But I'm looking forward to using it a lot here in the yard. All of the calibration part on this machine is within 99% accuracy. 99, well, it's actually 99 point something. I can't remember what he said, but 99 point something accurate. I mean, that's mind-boggling to me, because even as hyper anal as I am about accuracy, and as much as we calibrate machines through the year, I'll guarantee you that a lot of the times we're not 99% accurate. Guarantee it.
We're going to die on Papa for a minute.
Who? You ain't wearing no shoes, boy?
I don't need some.
Huh? Was you raising them on?
He said yeah.
He said yeah.
We wish.
You ain't got no, yeah, we wish we was raising a barn. Don't you hit my truck. Lord have mercy. You good? Go on. You good? You got it? Don't be scared. Cut it. No, straight back. Straight back. Go straight back.
I'm going.
Straight. Keep going. Cut it. Cut it. So, it's getting dark, so you really can't see nothing other than hearing my mug talk. But I'll give you my word, we'll do some videos on this in the daylight, out in the yard using it, and I'm gonna take you through step by step, show you all the calibration process and all that. And you know, at the end of the year, once I get some hours under my belt with it, see where it's at. I don't know. It seems to be a really, really good machine, but I'm going off the person who manufactures it. David is a good friend of mine. I've known him for several years now, and I trust him at his word. When he says something, I believe it, because he's that kind of guy. But still, I'm the guy who I'm gonna prove all things, you know what I'm saying? And so I need some time in the cockpit on this thing, and need to be able to run it for several months before I can kind of give you my, whatever it is I'm gonna give you when we get to that point. So anyway, that's the Stinger Gateway applicator, kind of a little introduction, general overview video. Check you later.